This tutorial shows you how to take a video created in Adobe Premiere Pro and export it using Adobe Media Encoder. Here's my particular video in Premiere Pro. There's a talking head, and then, when the video goes out of focus, a text animation appears. The text animation was created in Adobe After Effects and brought into Premiere Pro using Dynamic Link. To play your sequence, press the spacebar. To pause the playback, press the spacebar again. You can move the playhead to any part of the video by clicking here and dragging it wherever you want. When you're ready to export, first make sure that sequence is active. Click the sequence name and make sure you see a blue border around the panel. And then choose File, Export, Media. You can also press Ctrl-M on Windows or Command-M on the Mac. This opens the Export Settings dialog box. This is where you determine how you would like the video to be exported. The first thing you need to determine is where you want your video to play. Let's say you want it to play on YouTube, Vimeo, and Facebook. You will want to choose the H.264 format and a YouTube preset that matches the video's properties. In this section here, you see the properties of the sequence that you are exporting, and you can also see the properties of the file that you're going to export. In my case, I am going to choose a preset that closely matches these values here. You see that my sequence is 960 by 720. Let's find a preset for YouTube that matches this. Going all the way to the bottom of the presets, I can find the YouTube ones, and the one that looks like it's going to match is the 720p one. So I choose this one. Now you see that it doesn't quite match it, as this one happens to be 1280 by 720, and I need 960 by 720. The frame rate is okay, just the frame size doesn't match. No worries, I can choose this section here and just type 960 in place of 1280. When you make your own adjustments here, make sure that this chain icon here is deselected so that you can adjust the width independently from the height. Because the preset was changed, this drop-down menu here now reads Custom. I can save this preset so I can reuse it without having to customize it again. To save it, I just click on this icon here and name it. I will name it YouTube 960 by 720. To determine where this exported video will be saved and what it will be named, click on this text here and choose the directory that you need and name it whatever you want. I will keep the name of the sequence but add YouTube to the end of the file name. Now I'm ready to export this. But instead of clicking Export, let's click Q to send it to Adobe Media Encoder. This opens Media Encoder and places the video render job in the render queue. This way we can add more render jobs to the queue and then do all of our rendering with one click. This is really convenient for outputting a video in different formats. Select the one export you have here in the render queue and see that these icons become active. This one here is called Add Output. You can add as many different outputs as you want by using this. Let's add one for Vimeo. Click here and you see that this new one has the same settings that the YouTube video one has. I'll leave this at H.264 and from this drop-down menu I'll choose a preset for Vimeo. I'll choose this one, Vimeo 720p HD. Obviously, I need to customize this so that it matches the frame size that I have, which is 960 by 720. Click on these words here. It opens the same export settings dialog that I was working on before. I'll customize this as before. I can choose this section here and just type 960 in place of 1280. I'll save this as a preset called Vimeo 960 by 720. I can now close this panel. Click OK to send it to the queue. Just like before, you can change the name you will give the exported file and the location where you want it by clicking here on this text. I will keep the name of the sequence but add Vimeo to the end of the file name. I should mention that there's a feature in Media Encoder that allows you to publish directly to YouTube, Vimeo, Facebook, Twitter, and other destinations. So I'll click the preset name for my first render item. Back in the Export Settings dialog box, you can click the Publish tab. As you can see, there are several destinations to choose from. I'll go down to YouTube and select it. Here, you can log in, set the privacy level, add tags and a description. This way, after Media Encoder has rendered your video file, it will also upload it directly to your YouTube account according to these settings. I'll click Cancel now and go back to the render queue. Now, if you wanted, you could also do an output setting specific to Facebook. I'll leave that exercise up to you. But you know how to do it. Add an output, click the preset name to change it, select the Facebook preset and change the frame size to 960 by 720. You'll then add a third entry to the queue. When you are all done with making your adjustments, all you need to do is click the green play button here and your files will begin to export. And that's how you can export a video from Premiere Pro to multiple outputs using Media Encoder.